Are you a woman thinking you have no willpower and maybe you have to settle for what's happening right now in your life and you just can't quite figure it out? Well, stay tuned because we're going to explore that with my amazing guest co-host, Lucille Rock. So welcome. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I'm coming to you today on Evolving Women. And I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving, and we're on this journey of evolution together. So, to help with that journey, we're here to share uplifting messages, tools, resources, offer new perspectives, some wellness ideas, maybe some mindset shifts. We might be planting some new seeds so that we all evolve faster. We're here to give you permission to be your best self. So, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And welcome, Lucille. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
yeah. Well, thank you so much,
Appreciate you.
Teresa, for having me.
Oh, I am so thrilled that you come into this arena to play with me. So, thank you. And I know you have lots to share today because it sounds like you gave yourself permission to open a door, step into the unknown, and do some exploring and some discovery work on you and your body and what was happening with it. So, can you share some more about your journey?
Yeah. So my journey, I'll be honest, and I don't think I'm alone in this camp. I've never been, uh, I don't know. I guess pleased would be the good word. I've never been pleased or accepting of my body shape. I mean, honestly, I think maybe I was 12 or 13 years old. My last memory of liking how my body looked
Mm,
and how
mm,
I felt. So the journey all through my 20s and pregnancies and beyond that, it was just always a battle for me with my body, how I felt in my own skin.
mhm,
And well, I was 43 when I had my last child. So after that, I just went on this up and down, um, which again, I think most of us do, right? We're on that roller
mhm.
coaster.
Yep.
We do a program and I've always been close to my ideal weight. I never honestly got there. But then for some reason that I could not put my finger on or understand, I would gain the weight back. And it was just so frustrating. And then about this time last year, I was listening to an interview. Um, I was listening to a podcast that Hale Elrod had on, and he had this guest, Mindy Peltz, and she started talking about the frustrations that I was going through. Women experiencing this unexplained weight gain, um, and then multiple issues. But again, because for me that was such a struggle for so many years, that's what I heard. So I started plugging into Dr. Mindy Peltz, and the world that was opened up to me. I was just so thankful and grateful because again, what started for me as a weight journey really turned into a journey of falling in love with my body.
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
right now where I am, I still have not reached that ideal weight that I would like to. But what I have learned about my body in this past year, I'm just like, oh my God, I love
mm.
being a woman. So
Oh,
so with that, I was like, I have to share this. It's
mm,
too good to keep to myself. Not only because of the goodness that I'm feeling and the acceptance that I have, also the challenges that I realized not only was I going through, but other women are not only going through the same thing that am going through, but even worse. And like, oh my God, if
mhm,
they just knew this, they would just be able to go, to get beyond
mm.
that and be like, there is an answer, there is a light at the end of at the end of the tunnel. The sun does rise, So yeah, so that's why I said it opened up an amazing world. Like I said, even though it began as a weight journey, it's not that anymore. It's like,
Mm.
no, I'm discovering who I am as a woman and just how amazing my body is.
Oh, that is so cool. And your face just lit up when you said, I found I feel great in my own skin. I just have accepted and I feel great and I love being a woman. I love that because I don't think that's something that women say too frequently to themselves or
No,
to other
no,
women.
when I was going back and looking at all the way I would talk to myself and even think about myself, it's terrible. It's degrading, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah,
You know,
that's negative self-talk
yeah,
is something that we would never talk to our other women friends
right.
or family members that way, but yet we feel it's okay to talk to ourselves that way.
Yeah,
And it's not doing us any service in any way, shape, or form. So
yeah,
I'm thrilled that you found something that was able to change your self-talk into a more positive, uplifting, you know,
yeah.
set of words for yourself. And now you want to share everything that you've learned with the world. I found that women love doing that. They find something that works, that they feel drawn to share it with other women so they can uplift and, lead other women to feel really good about themselves too.
Yes, I do. I love being able to inspire.
That is so cool. Now, what was this doctor's name? Dr. Mindy Peltz.
Yeah, PELZ, Dr. Mindy Peltz.
Oh, Pelz.
Yeah. So,
And
and at the time that I had come across her, she had just released her book called Fasting Like a Girl. Before that, she
okay.
did the menopause reset. And the way those books came about for her was because she had a clinic, and this is what she was doing. She was helping mainly women, but men too would come into the clinic and just helping them understand those hormonal changes that they were experiencing, once they got into like the 35, 40 year range,
And it's
and
interesting that we are not taught any of this information at any point in our lives
no,
by anyone. There's so much confusing information out there.
yeah,
And I
yeah, and
know
that's
everybody's different and we all
yeah,
respond differently to
exactly.
different ways of eating and working out and that kind of stuff. But
Right,
it
right.
shouldn't be this confusing.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly one what you just said just drives me even more to want to get out there and speak to other women because on one hand it's great, the conversation of menopause has become much more prevalent, right? You're hearing it
Yeah,
more and more
yeah.
often, but again there's just so much information out there. A lot of people are sincere, they really want to help
Hmm.
women, but then of course you always have that group that they're just looking for, they want to jump on the bandwagon and take advantage of the
Hmm.
money. So we need to be aware of that. And that's what I really liked about Dr. Mindy Peltz is because she stresses the N of one, right? So the N of one is that concept of you may have a group study of so many people, but how does that affect you personally? So what she teaches and what I have learned is, yeah, take the information in and then try it on for size. See what works for you. So I would never tell someone that you have to eat plant-based, you have to eat
Hmm.
carnivore, I would never say that. These are all the different food styles, and the options that are given to you. Now you try them and what works best for you.
I
So
like that.
yeah, I really like that N of one approach because we're all so different and we respond differently to different things.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like she has a concept and a way of making friends with your body, but yet it's individualized to each unique person. And they can
Yes.
kind of, like you said, pick and choose and try it on for size to see
Yeah.
what works for them. I love that phrase, try it on for size.
Yeah. I mean, there is a basic format, but there's
Hmm.
so many ways that you could tweak it within that template.
I love that because sometimes, yeah, like you said, we're fed this information like, oh, do this diet, do this thing with your hormones if you're a menopausal woman. And like I said, it's very cookie cutter, very generic, and somebody might try it and it doesn't work for them. And then they get, like you
Yeah.
said when we started, then you feel bad about yourself and you think like you can't do it and you must be wrong and not realizing it was the method, it was the process, it was that formula that wasn't quite right for your particular body.
Yeah, yeah. And then again, too, we have to keep in mind that our body is so amazing at doing its job well, right? What's the number one priority for the body is to survive.
Mm,
So the body is just programmed in a way to do whatever it takes to make sure that we survive.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So as good as that is, it's frustrating at the same time because there are so many different layers that you have to be aware of, like what is going on with your body, how is your body working, and then it's almost like just checking it off as you go, so there's a lot of variations that you're learning again just about how the functions of your body. And for me, what I teach is specifically with the hormones. Um, and that's why if you don't mind me sharing, I'd laugh because now I'm going to be 55 years old this year. So in my 40s, I'm thinking, okay, I knew menopause was coming, right? And I got it
Mm-hmm.
like around 50. So in my 40s, I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting closer and closer to 50. My menstrual cycle is going to stop. Yay, that's going to be awesome. And I just thought I'd go skipping down. Life would be grand. So again, now I had my last child at 43. So from 43 to 50, I guess I was just busy within that, right, dealing with,
Yeah, yeah.
a young child. And again, I was experiencing that weight, again, because I think
Mm-hmm.
probably maybe when she was like 5 or 6 years old, I was like, okay, I want to get back in shape, get my, whatever. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was finding out. But it wasn't until I started learning what Dr. Mindy was teaching, that menopause is like a 10 to 15-year journey.
Mm.
And here I'm thinking it's just a switch that's, you're going to turn a certain age, the switch goes
Right,
on and
right.
boom. So that was a big eye opener for me. And what I also learned too was all these changes in our hormones. We're losing estrogen, we're losing progesterone, decrease in testosterone, all those, while we're while those hormones are decreasing, it's causing other things, right? Where we become anxious, um, the weight gain, the brain fog. And what I found out was that in this particular time frame, I don't know what. Okay, so I cannot wait to turn 50. For some reason, I was just so excited. I'm like, because for me, I felt like I'm getting my time back. Like 50
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
beyond, that was a time for me to focus more on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to accomplish. And I was really excited about that time. But what I started learning, once I came into this menopausal world, was that women during this time period, because of all the hormonal changes, that's when, and one thing I experienced was the mental, endurance. That is a thing that happens. So what happens is a lot of women during this time, they step back from their work, from their job. And it could be a job that they love, but they just mentally cannot
Mm.
do it. And then unfortunately too, um, this is a period where suicide increases for many women.
Wow.
Yeah, so that
Wow.
was that was a heartbreak for me to realize that.
Wow.
And then what was the other thing that stuck out for me? It was the job. It was, oh my gosh, divorce rates increase.
Mm, wow.
Divorce rates increase, and of those divorce rates, they're mostly initiated by women.
Mm,
Again, because we're going through, and I don't know, I haven't learned enough to say that it's a pleasurable journey. I think it could be. See, my goal, I want to teach women about these changes and this journey of menopause, because it should be a much easier transition, because what we're transitioning into is that beautiful journey past
Mm-hmm.
post-menopause,
Right,
yeah,
right.
where we just put so much garbage behind us, like our
Mm-hmm.
minds are so different, and
Yep.
our attitudes are different, our perspectives are different, and we just
Mm-hmm.
hold a different seat in our community.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's what this whole menopausal transition is, you know, getting us to. So that's my hope and my inspiration with taking other women through the menopause journey so that it could be a much easier transition. If I can help them fall in love with their body, if I can help them stay in a relationship that they want to stay in, and if I can help them maintain that job, I mean, maybe they do want to change careers or whatever, but what if it's a
Mm-hmm.
career that they love and they've invested how many years? Some women are
Mm-hmm.
in a career for 20 years. So that's my inspiration. And then
Wow.
once we, the elders, know about this, we're going to teach it to our younger generation.
Mm-hmm. Right,
And
right.
then the young girls, heading into menopause could be prepared,
Right,
you
right.
know.
So it
So
sounds like you want to make it more pleasant for them as they
yes,
approach it. Because, like, we all know we're going to get there,
yeah,
but we don't really know how to plan for it.
not
And I'm sure there's lots of things you could do in advance of getting to that transition, that 10 to, what is it, 10 to 15-year journey, which I didn't know was that long
yeah,
either.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's a long time. And so
it
why
is.
not be proactive about it and make some plans and put your lifestyle in place that's going to make that an easier journey.
Yeah. And I will tell you, so the way that I was taught to journey through menopause and the approach that I am helping women with is your food and your fasting.
Mm,
Those are the two techniques that I love to teach because when we pair those two together and we understand our hormonal cycle, that's where the magic is.
mm,
And yeah, that's where the journey starts making sense,
wow.
and
Yeah, and
just
I
understanding.
certainly don't know enough about that myself. And I know
Yeah.
I'm learning that from you. But it sounds to me like there's could be a lot of symptoms going on that we don't attribute to that hormonal change. We just again think we're getting older,
Yes.
something's
Yeah.
happening, and so again we're becoming worse versions of ourselves, not better versions. Where here it's just a hormonal fluctuation or those changes taking place.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like the phrase not getting old, you're just getting older. I don't know if that right. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
going to deny that I'm getting older. I am going to getting older, but I want to get
Hmm.
older gracefully.
Yes, that's exactly
I want to
my
get
goal too.
older. I don't believe I will ever be old.
Hmm.
No, I don't. I'm never going to be old. I will always be older, but
Yes. Yes. I know I don't like that word. I never use it. I don't like hearing other people use it because I don't know, it just has a negative connotation to me. Not that I'm in denial or anything, but like you
yeah,
said, I am getting older and wiser and
yeah,
embracing the age I'm at. But yeah, not old at all.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think a lot of us women were redefining age. We're changing the stereotype. We're changing the paradigm of what it looks like to be older. I know I have visions of my grandmother. She was old in my thoughts way back then.
yeah.
And so I have this version of her, and it wasn't where I want to be now that I've hit that
Mm,
age. Like I want to be more active and enthusiastic and exciting and traveling and doing all kinds of things. She didn't do any of that. So my examples were not all that great that I
yeah.
had in my lifetime. So
Well, I mean, I guess you could look at it like that, but because I saw the same thing, like the elder women in my family, they were on certain medications. They
yep,
couldn't
yep.
go, they couldn't travel because of this issue, that issue.
Yes,
And I'm
yes,
thinking to myself,
yes.
oh my gosh, so limiting. But that
Mm-hmm.
inspired me to find
Mm-hmm.
the answer. I was like, this is
Yes.
not what life, I'm sure this is not what life was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct.
again, and I think that's why I just kept asking the question. There's got to be something. I mean, my oldest daughter is 32 years old, and I would be on the phone with her. I'm like, there's got to be something. There's just something that I'm missing. So I'm so glad that I did. I found that connection. And the other thing too that I like is, once you open up this world and you start listening to people like Dr. Mindy, you open up the world to so many other
Mm-hmm.
experts,
Yep.
and again, the learning, I love the learnings. I'm a big learner and I love to share. So,
I know we are very blessed at this point in history with the internet and information that we can get from so many places. You mentioned podcasts, books, I
mm,
mean, there's so many resources that we have available to us that women didn't have, let's say, 100 years ago, or whatever, at the
yeah, yeah,
beginning part of our country. And they just had to suffer through this, not knowing what was happening to them. Whereas
yeah.
we have the advantage of being able to tap into information, but it can be information overload too.
Mm. Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, it can be. And sometimes I need to take a step back and be like, okay, wait,
I
let
know,
me just, let me
I
just
know
take
we
it
are both
easy.
learners and we love to
Yeah,
learn, but
yeah, yeah.
sometimes it can be too much and we need to really focus in into one thing, and which it sounds like you've done. You have focused in, you love this. We're going to call it a formula, but I don't know if that's a good
Mm,
word for it. You like the food and fasting combo. It seems to be giving you results.
yeah,
And now I love that you want to share it with other women to
yeah,
shorten their journey and make their journey more pleasant and lead by example for that younger generation.
yes, definitely. Yep.
Mm. So, in the remaining time we have, do you want to share a little bit about this food and fasting, just a very short concept, and what is so magical about it to you? What has
Yeah.
helped you?
So our body is run by two energy systems. You've got your sugar burner and you've got your fat burner. So, and then you've got your hormones. The main hormones for that I focus on are cortisol, insulin, estrogen, progesterone, and the little bit of testosterone that we get in once a month. So, understanding where those three, your sex hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, paying attention and knowing when they're coming in and out during the month, and then also minding your cortisol, because we all know when we're too stressed, cortisol goes up, and cortisol just shuts everything else down and makes it really hard. So we focus on cortisol and stress management, and then also bringing in the food and the fasting. So with the food, depending on if you're preparing for estrogen or progesterone, so estrogen likes very low carbs. So that's when you want to bring more in a ketobiotic. It's called a ketobiotic diet. Um, Progesterone loves carbs. So on those months where you need to be raising your progesterone, you want to bring in those hormone feasting foods, which are your natural carbs, your potatoes, your rice, your quinoa, starchy things like that. Some of your citrus fruits, your bananas, mangoes, things of those nature. And then with the fasting, again, depending on what's going on, if you want to work on the estrogen, then you need to be, not that you need to be, but estrogen loves the longer fasting lengths. It does well with the longer fasting lengths. Progesterone, on the other hand, because progesterone is the calming hormone, so it doesn't want stress. So that's when you would pull back from your fasting. So you would make your fasting window smaller and then open up your eating window to a larger time frame. And that's a misconception I think that people misunderstand when you talk about fasting. I know when I first heard of fasting, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna starve. And
Yep, yep.
you're not starving yourself. You're not calorie restricting. Fasting is simply creating a time restriction on your eating window, because our bodies really need that 12 to 15 hours of rest. So
Mm.
typically, a lot of people, will start their fasting window before they go to bed, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it. So you do your fasting window for 12 to 15 hours, and then you open it up, and that's your eating window. And then, of
So
course,
most of the,
there's so many nuances in between.
right. And you're sleeping most of the time anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. But again, the
So
more you understand, your body, and you know, uh, longer fast increases your ketones. Your brain loves ketones, right? That helps clear up the brain fog. It gives you energy. But then your brain also needs the glucose. It needs the sugar.
hmm.
So that's why you really need to know about both things. And then when you bring that into the menopause years, especially because estrogen, you're losing, oh, what's the word? Okay, so progesterone, you're losing GABA, right? And GABA helps us calm down. Estrogen, you're losing your collagen. And so that's, again, those are the different things that you want to pay attention to. And just, again, once you understand all these things and how our bodies are just so miraculous, you just, I don't know. Again, I was able to fall in love with my body
I know.
and
And I can tell your
just
passion for
appreciate
this.
it so much
So
more.
some of my takeaways before we wrap up here is understanding those different hormones, which you listed out, and how
Yep.
they relate to food. Like when
Yeah.
you said progesterone loves blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was. And estrogen likes blah, blah. I mean, who knew? Like I
Yeah.
certainly didn't realize that. And it's really, this is all about paying attention to our bodies, which
Yeah.
is something we don't always do. We're
No.
up in our heads, doing our things, being productive, raising families, in our career. It's all go, 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 do, do, do up here, right? And we're not necessarily paying attention to our bodies and
Yeah.
how they're feeling. So it sounds to me like this is kind of flipping that to where we're really consciously and intentionally focusing on what's happening here.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing I know that I've learned, and I believe other women do, is you start understanding what your body is trying to communicate to you,
Mm-hmm.
and and then you're saying, okay, well, this is how I'm feeling. Now I kind of have something that I can go back to and work with, so that I can change that.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that. And I know,
without either, yeah, like just saying, well, I just have to suffer with this. This is what it is. I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah,
older, and
yeah. You don't have to suffer. Information is there. And of course, people such as yourself are there to guide us. It
yeah.
sounds like, to me, it sounds complicated right now, but I would need someone to guide me through and help me understand so that I could do it on my own eventually.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
And I did create a program to take women through the fundamentals of the food and fasting, helping them understand their cycle and where these different concepts, of fasting and your food, like the ketobiotics and the hormone feasting, how you can, bring those in again during different times of the month. So I'm really excited about that program. I just finished my first round of of running the program, and I got really good feedback. Great, I don't know if well, you would know, Teresa, right? You create these programs and you have all these ideas in your head, and you want people to show up, and it
Mm-hmm.
meant a lot for me that these women showed up.
Mm-hmm.
After the first week, after the second week, it's a 4-week program, and they showed up, and that just meant the world to me. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to doing it more and even expanding the program to go even deeper. Um, so
I
that's
love
where I'm
that. I
at right
said,
now.
love
Yeah.
your enthusiasm. So, if I was a woman that wanted to be part of your program, how can I get a hold of you?
So the best way to get a hold of me right now is through my email. It's Lucille Rock 12 at gmail.com. And in the subject, uh, put put the word flag, which stands for Fast Like a Girl.
Okay.
And
F
then I'll, we'll definitely find a way to connect and set up an appointment. I love conversation, so I would never be afraid of just someone wanting to inquire more, just to
okay.
inquire.
So just to
I
get
would
the
love that. So
information,
please,
see if,
don't hesitate reaching out.
okay. So just to get the
Yeah,
information,
yeah. And then
see if
of
it's a
course,
good fit for
right. Yeah, and then if they want to join the
mhm.
program, I would love to have them join the program.
Great. I love this. I wish there were more people out there doing this. Maybe there are. I just was never aware of this way of looking
Mhm.
at food and fasting and the connection there. It's just, like I said, fasting is kind of a scary word, but you make it sound really
Yeah,
easy
no,
and
and it could
doable.
be. Yes, yes, and that's the thing. Unfortunate, well, I don't want to say unfortunate, but that was one of the things when fasting first came out and women were getting such great results. They didn't realize the need to vary. You can't just stay on a 16/8 eating cycle forever.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so that's what I love teaching. Again, variation is so important.
And it sounds like we were only getting half of the formula there with the fasting and not the
Yeah,
food piece of it. So
yeah.
I'm
And then
glad that you brought that to our
vary
awareness.
everything. We are cycling women. We cycle through everything. Everything is a cycle for us. So your food and fasting has to be the same.
And to really embrace that. I know that's not something I've embraced for myself, but to have that awareness, I'm sure is very helpful. And like I said, we do it anyway. So why not lean into it
Yeah.
with some intention? So I see we're at our time. I want to thank you so much, Lucille, for joining us and sharing your passion and your eagerness to help women get more information and more comfortable with their body so they can love who they are and love their body just as you do. So thank you
Yes.
so much, my
Well,
friend.
thank you,
Appreciate
Teresa. I
it.
really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Look for Lucille's info in the description with this recording, and please reach out to her and see if this can be something that works for you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
See
Thank
you the
you.
next time. Bye bye.